Okay, so now that we're recording, all right, so would you mind taking a minute and introducing yourself to everybody before we get into your story?
Okay, my name is Saga Erickson. I am an artist in the far reaches of northern Wisconsin. My husband and I are both artists, and we are trying to live the most sustainable lifestyle that we can, um, and leave as small a footprint on our planet as we can. And while we're doing this, we're managing my MS and autoimmune issues through diet and exercise.
So
Um,
this we're here now to talk about MS and how you did what you did, but I think we should schedule some other time to talk about how you're living sustainably and the tips that you may be able to give everybody, because that sounds awesome too.
it's really been quite an adventure. We've been doing this for 13 years now, and every year we learn more. And uh, it's it's a very rewarding but very labor intensive lifestyle. So yeah, I'd love to share that sometime.
Yeah, because now I want to ask a whole bunch of questions about that. Okay, so you have MS. When were you diagnosed?
I wasn't diagnosed until 2013, but looking back, I started exhibiting symptoms as a teenager.
Yeah.
And was let's see, I was hospitalized um in 1976 for seizures. And I had started falling and falling and falling. All of a sudden my legs would give out. But my mother was diagnosed with MS at that time. And so my own issues, I ended up, you know, just being kind of it's like, oh, she's got bad knees, oh, it's arthritis, oh, it's this, oh, it's that. But they didn't have MRI technology yet, and I'm allergic to contrast, so they couldn't do a full CAT scan. So I went through 40 years of having a flare, um, and by the time I would get to having a doctor look at it, it had passed. And and it's like I was either crazy or they didn't know what was wrong. So they would say, so, well, here's some painkillers, here's some this, here's some that. And I have a number of other autoimmune issues. So things went undiagnosed until I was just about 50. And I fell. Uh, and I had started falling, and I all of a sudden I realized what was happening, and I realized what the symptoms meant. And I kept falling, and then I fell really bad on two really bad knees, and I couldn't get up again. And so after so many years of back and forth with doctors, and doctors pretty much um humoring me or patronizing me, or well, here's some painkillers. um I actually said, I really need some answers to what's happening in my body. So, being an artist, I drew a body map, and I pinpointed and color coded very meticulously all the things that were happening in my body. And I happened to have a brand new doctor, and I said, "Here, this is what's happening to me." And she goes, "Oh." And then my whole, in the midst of her going, "Oh, let's start to find out what's happening," my whole left side went completely Novocaine numb and then stayed that way. And then so it's like the big emergency. It was like, "Oh my God, is it Bell palsy? Oh, is she having a stroke?" And it's like, no, she said, "I think this is MS." So she sent me to this fantastic neurologist, and I ended up with an MS diagnosis, a fibro diagnosis, on top of some of the other autoimmune issues that I deal with. So it took till I was 50 to be diagnosed. So and by then I needed a walker.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Yeah. It sounded like you were just thrown into the shadows when, because of
Yeah.
so much that was going on with your mother, you were
Hmm.
just, they were just trying to put a band-aid on your symptoms.
Right, pretty much. And my mom's symptoms were pretty dramatic, so it didn't occur to anyone that I was going through those symptoms as well.
Right. Right.
And by the time I was 18, 19, I'd moved on my own. I started having kids. I had, home, family, had to work. And so the physical issues would flare and then, ebb and flow and ebb and flow. And, I'd see doctors, they'd think I was nuts. And then I'd feel fine. And it's like, well, maybe I am nuts.
And that's
So
exactly, yeah, that's exactly what happens. We have all these real complaints, but by the time we can get in and see a doctor, they're all gone. So, when an educated doctor, is telling us that we're, well, you don't have anything, I don't see anything, then you start questioning your own sanity and you're like, well, maybe I am nuts. But then it happens again. You're like, no, this is real. It's here. It's so frustrating to try to get the right diagnosis, but even it doesn't matter what you're diagnosed with, you're still living with all of it. So who cares what label they give it? And they happen to give you more than one label, didn't they? Fibro,
uh,
MS.
I have fibro, I have MS, I have degenerative disc disease,
Oh,
osteoarthritis. So I actually have 2 brand new knees in the last 7 years. I had to have both my knees replaced, which that I knew, even as a teenager, that would be coming. I also have vitiligo, which you probably can't see it in this kind of light, but I'm various different pigments because
you can
with
see it.
what's that?
I said, no, you can't see it in this light. They filter us nicely on Zoom.
Yeah, and I'm calico colored basically. Because my natural complexion is slightly tan, but with vitiligo, I have lost a lot of my pigmentation. So um I yeah, it's an autoimmune thing where your immune system starts attacking the pigment cells and kills them. So it's like what happened to Michael Jackson.
So let
So
me ask you something. You are hit with a list of autoimmune diseases, and I'm
yeah.
sure you were also hit at the same time with a list of medications that you could take. So when you were presented with the small novel of prescriptions, how did you handle that?
I was really disheartened by it because I've always been someone that liked to do things as naturally as possible. And I never wanted in my older years to have this pile up of a pharmacy on my kitchen table. So, as each medication was introduced, then there was another medication that would counter the effects of that medication. And
And so
so
on and so on and so on.
I ended up being on um over annually over $100,000 worth of medications. And it's like, to me, this was extremely disheartening that I had this many meds to be on, to maybe manage symptoms.
Maybe that's what they give you. The promise that they give you is maybe this will work. We don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe this will work. We don't know. So, coping the best I could. My husband took over a lot of the homesteading chores and whatnot when I was at my worst, because combination of flares and all the medications, I'd fall asleep in the middle of a sentence. I'd fall asleep eating. I um my cognitive abilities were really, really hampered. And I really couldn't do much of anything for a few years.
I
Um,
know exactly what you mean. And when people, it's just when people hear cognitive, I think it's different for everybody, but my memory goes right back to when I couldn't make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for my kids. There were too many steps. And then I would get the spoon and then the knife, and then where's the peanut butter? And I left the jelly in the refrigerator, and God, I just need to sit down. That's the right. Am I right? It's just that you can't hold thoughts or do anything. Everything's just takes too many steps.
yeah, yeah, everything took too many steps and every step was exhausting.
Exhausting. Yeah. And then you're like, why did I even think that I could do this? And then it's a
Right.
downward spiral of what am I ever going to be able to do because I have no energy and I can't live on drugs.
And because I couldn't stand for more than 10 minutes unassisted, I could no longer work. Even my art would completely exhaust me. So, I basically I wasn't I wasn't quite a vegetable, but I was pretty close because I had such difficulty just functioning, and getting dressed was exhausting.
Mhm.
Um,
Forget a shower. Forget a shower. They're not necessary anymore. They're too exhausting. Yeah.
basically, so so it was yeah, the whole drug lineup was just frustrating, and at the same time, there's the humiliation of starting to put on weight, a lot of weight, because I'm also postmenopausal,
Mhm.
and so I had no metabolism, none. To
Yep. And you weren't
So
burning any calories because it was too exhausting to burn a calorie. So there you are sitting on the couch all day long, just watching the weight pack on.
yeah, yeah, very, very frustrating, very disheartening. Especially when most of my life I had been a very thin person,
Mhm.
and I realized that when my kids were little, I realized I was athletic. So I was doing everything I could to keep physical. In my mid 30s, I used to be a heavy smoker.
Mhm.
I quit smoking when I was 6 and took up cross country skiing and yoga, um, mainly to combat the degenerative disc disease and to make my knees stronger, and to set a good example for my daughters that even if you have some physical issues, you can still do stuff and still keep going. But by the time I couldn't go anymore, meant I also couldn't ski anymore, and I couldn't do yoga, and um the downward spiral was really very disheartening. um
It's devastating.
and so I did end up seeing a therapist during all that, because as a means of managing my pain, they sent me to a pain clinic because I'm opioid resistant.
Okay.
So um any of the usual opioids that they prescribe for pain have no effect on me.
Wow.
I'll take like 3 of them and a beer.
Wow.
I
And
feel
nothing.
nothing, nothing. So it's like, so a lot of cognitive behavioral theory, therapy, a lot of coping mechanisms to try to manage my own pain levels, which I'm very proactive when it comes to that kind of stuff. So, and you know, in a lot of my adult life, I learned things like Reiki, and
Mhm.
became a master. So, I had some grasp on how to manage some of my own symptoms.
Yep.
uh, but still, it's like there was this wounded pride of like, how come I can't heal me? How come I can't get past this and actually function? Um,
I'm
and
finding that's such a common thread with the members in this group, at least the ones that I've talked to so far. They all have this desire to heal themselves. And then when they're not seeing the progress that they expect to see, they all question, why can't I do this? What's wrong with me? Why aren't I powerful enough? And I'm wondering, what is that moment that kind of turned everything for you? I feel like everyone has a moment where they're going through that spiral. Everything is out of control. We're talking to a therapist and everything's just getting worse and worse and worse. And then there's a moment and everything starts to change direction. What did you have a
my
moment?
I
Yeah.
did have a moment. Um, the there was two major events that happened in my life that turned things around. The first one was about 4 years ago. My husband decided he was going to start working out, and he'd never been the athletic type and whatnot, but we have a local community college that has a free gym with workout equipment and weights and the whole bit, as well as a running track. So he decided he was going to work out. And because, our lifestyle is really labor intensive, he wants to be in the best health possible to be able to do, the firewood and the gardening and the, work in the forge and, a lot of the things that keep our household running. He wants to be able to do that well into old age, as do I. So he started working out and I figured, well, what the hell, I'll tag along. Some days I need a walker, some days I need a cane, but I can at least walk on the track. So I shuffled around the track a few times, got exhausted. Oh, my husband just corrected me. It was 5 years ago.
Aw. Tell him to poke his head in here. I want to say hi.
Come here. This is my husband. He's delightful. This is my Dan.
Well,
Dan, this is
Mr. Delightful. It's nice to meet you.
Hello, good to meet you too.
Great beard. You got a good beard, just like my husband. Nice.
Willis. Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be,
Yeah.
but I got tired of that.
Yeah. when he started thinking he looked like the Duck Dynasty guys, the beard got shorter.
So did the hair at that time.
Yeah.
Well,
That-
whatever you
that
got
can-
going on right now, it looks good. Keep it. It was nice meeting you.
Good to meet you.
And anyhow, he started working out and I figured, well, what the hell? I'm sitting here at a weight machine. I'm going to do some stuff. And all of a sudden it's like my muscles and everything went, hey, I still got work to do. So by the end of the session, my cognitive abilities were clearer. And I went, this is awesome. So my husband and I do a lot of research because we're really nerdy that way. And so we started researching neuroplasticity and muscle memory and what resistance training can do. And we found that resistance training is really valuable for things like fibro and MS and other central nervous system disorders that basically say, hey, you still got some work to do here. So
Like there's still some life here. Thank you for like seeing me and bringing me back to life.
So at 52 years old, I started powerlifting. And I'll have to share some videos and stuff. I was a lot heavier then. I've lost 60 pounds since then.
Wow.
But I didn't lose weight as a result of the powerlifting. But it gave my muscles and my nervous system and everything something to do. And even though I couldn't feel my left side, I could function again. And so I could at least power lift. Sometimes that was the only thing I could do in a day. And we did that for a couple of years. And then I had a flare and a setback. And I ended up with an 8-month-long migraine that I could not work out at all because the migraine was so horrible.
8 months?
8-month-long migraine. It
How
just
did you survive that?
I watched a lot of movies in the dark. And I didn't do a whole lot, and I ended up having to have steroid treatments to try to, the steroid infusions, and it's like nothing helps. And in the meantime, life goes on, and I as life is going on, I'm realizing, I am learning more and more about animal agriculture, and I don't like how the animals are being treated. And, being the kind of people that want to leave as small an impact on the earth as possible, we decided, let's become vegetarians so that we're not supporting this particular industry. And then it's like, well, maybe we'll still fish, maybe we'll do milk and eggs. And I realized, no, that's just as destructive an industry. So we went, what the heck? We're going to go full vegan. So now I had heard about Dr. Walls, and I'd heard about a lot of the different claims of different diets that can help MS. And I went, oh, that's just silly. That's just silly.
It's just food. What could that do?
Yeah. and we're 2 weeks in.
That's just fuel.
Yeah.
That is a mistake food being just fuel.
Yeah, my husband was just mistake food for just being fuel. And it's like, no, what we put in our bodies matters.
Yep.
Well, after 2 weeks of having gone vegan, all of a sudden I realized my headache's gone.
Oh, wow.
And now I do have a wheat sensitivity. So we had cut out any wheat products for several years because I realized that was giving me migraines.
Mm-hmm.
But, after having gone vegan, and realized that, hey, I'm feeling better. And the longer we were vegan, the better I was feeling. Then we started doing the research, and we looked up Terry Walls, and we looked up one of my favorites is Dr. Michael Greger from nutritionfacts.org.
Okay. I
And
looked that one up.
yeah, he is awesome. He has got it's research-based nutrition. So I'll send you a link because I love Dr. Greger. He's got a book called How Not to Die.
I love that.
He has 2 cookbooks out now, the How Not to Die cookbooks, but he has got just
And
a
how not to diet.
How Not to Diet.
I love that. Yeah, I'm gonna love him. Thank you. I'm gonna ask you, send me that link.
So I'll send you that link, but Dr. McDougall is another one, Dr. Neil Barnard. So I'll put links to all of these fabulous nutrition-based doctors on the Facebook page, because they really have some great research and links to other research and studies, and so it's absolutely wonderful. So I started getting bold after being a few weeks on this diet. I went, I wonder if I can start eliminating some of my meds. And I let both my neurologist and my general practitioner know that what I was doing.
Mhm.
So, as my symptoms got better, with longer being on this diet, first I was able to eliminate all the asthma meds, because I do need them seasonally now, but that's still much better than having to have. Yeah. So first the asthma meds, then the stomach meds, then I just started ticking off all the meds, and my last MRI with my neurologist was stable, and because I'm close enough to 60, I said, hey, I'm starting to have reactions to my Copaxone injections for MS. Can I experiment with this and just go off of it for a while? And so I ended up off the MS meds.
Oh, now how did you do that? Did you do cold turkey or did you wean off?
With the Copaxone injections, I did go cold turkey because I was starting to have allergic reactions to the injection sites, and I'm out of injection sites because I've got a lot of scars. So I started running out of places where I could give myself injections.
Yep.
Last medications I weaned myself off of were baclofen and Lyrica.
Oh, wow. Yeah, those are powerful.
Those I did go really gradually. Oh, and Klonopin, because with some of my spasticity, it would look like seizures. So Klonopin, baclofen, and then Lyrica were the last ones that I slowly weaned myself off of. And now I only need the Lyrica seasonally to control some of the fibro issues, because with seasonal changes, sometimes there's a flare. And I still have an MS flare from time to time, but it's minimal.
Right.
It's debilitating.
So describe what that means. When you have a flare, what are the feelings? What are the symptoms?
When I have a flare now, once in a while I'll end up with a balance issue. Sometimes I have some vertigo, or my left side will lose feeling here and there. But it's not systemic anymore. It's more patchy. So like, are you familiar with MS hugs?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I used to get one only on my right side from my back all the way to the front here. It was like a half a hug. Yeah. And it just, the whole thing would just go like that.
Yeah, see, it affects mostly the left side of my body.
Mhm.
So I hug on the left side and then have to have an EKG, and I'd be down for days. And now if I get a hug, it's minor, and it's almost like just being pinched a little, and the duration may last half a day. Where, when I used to have an MS hug really bad, sometimes it could last several days before it would let up.
Yeah. So it's all diet. Everything that you've done is just what you've been eating.
Yeah.
Isn't that?
It's been, plus, being able, with being able to eliminate the meds and the diet, I've lost 60 pounds.
Yes. That's amazing.
I got myself back. It's like I look in the mirror now and I'm, there's this vanity thing. It's like, oh, you never want to get old and fat, and I was old and fat. Oh, yeah, Zach. Yeah.
I just wanted to make a note that we don't know what kind of results you would have experienced from diet alone, because you got strong first. And I think that makes a difference.
Yeah, I got strong first and then added the diet in.
Yeah.
Excellent point, Dan. Excellent points. Yes.
Yeah, I think a lot of people with movement disorders do need to pay attention to the strength part of it. You don't need to turn into the Hulk, but
it helps.
Getting closer to an average strength for your age or something, is going to help.
So it has been a circular thing, because with diet and losing the weight and having more strength and having less fatigue, I can walk 2 to 4 miles a day now, and I do. We do yoga twice a day. And
you just said we do yoga. Do you do yoga with your husband?
Yeah.
Oh.
And the dog. My border collie tries to figure out what we're doing.
That's awesome. You're very lucky. My husband and I completely have different workout routines. So he's actually at the gym right now. He's got a workout buddy that I've been jealous of since the beginning, because I wanted to be that person. But so that's very nice that you would do that with your husband. Very cool.
My husband and I have a really decent relationship.
Really decent. It sounds amazing. Okay, really decent. We'll go with that.
So like the yoga with Adrienne that I posted on the Minding Yourself, we've been following her since the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And so we do one of her routines in the morning and one at night before we go to bed. We want to make our health, our mental health and our physical health our top priority. And we are very fortunate with our lifestyle that we don't have a lot for bills. We're not rich. In fact,
but you're living comfortably because you're living within your means and you have everything that you need. Right. And a lot of what you want. Now, I know a lot of people watching this. Wait, before I ask about that question, how's your mother doing? How did she handle her MS?
Didn't handle it well. She had some other physical issues as well, hypertension, heart issues related to rheumatic fever from when she was a little kid. And she actually passed on right before I got my MS diagnosis. She was just shy of her 70th birthday when she passed on.
50th, did you say?
When I, right before I was diagnosed at 50, she passed away at the age of 70.
Okay, 70. Wow.
But by then, she, watching her MS while I was growing up and into adulthood, she went from stages where she couldn't walk at all to not having symptoms for years. And then, she'd get hit by a flare and she'd be down again. So, a lot of the things that she went through, I was pretty observant about and recognized a lot of the symptoms, and even without a diagnosis, did a lot of proactive things to keep myself going, so I didn't end up like her, because she did not exercise. She did not eat right. She lived on potato chips and peanut butter. She just, and she was a heavy smoker all the way to the die. So I tried very hard not to live the kind of lifestyle she did, because it was killing her.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to ask. The question that I get a lot, that I know when people are watching this video, as long as it's okay with you, I wanted to put this not only in the Minding Your Soul group, but also on my website. People go there and they want to, you said, yes, thank you. Thank you. People go there when they're curious about when they're newly diagnosed. And hearing these stories of, yes, we hear about diet and exercise, and we hear about diet and exercise all the time, but we're never really given any education on diet and exercise. It's left to us. And before the internet, there was no place to really go, because the only thing we had to do research on was our Encyclopedia Britannica, that our mother bought from the salesman who came door to door. That's where I did my research. So you too?
Go ahead. Yeah, and now medical journals are available online. Research is available online, and it's like, if I can help other people to reclaim their lives, because like, here's my big brag. Okay, I can ski again. Not downhill, because I have prosthetic knees. But last winter and this winter, I skied cross country almost every single day. 5K to 8K each time. And it's like, I'm going to be 58 this year, and I can ski again. I can hike again. I can garden. My diet and exercise routines have given me my life back. Literally, they have given me my life back.
And that's what makes it easy to stick to that lifestyle. Because I think when people are newly diagnosed and we're telling them about diet and exercise, their lives haven't been taken away from them, or they haven't gotten the scare of their lives taken away from them. So to them, not being able to eat that fast food or the soda or the gluten, it means a lot to them still. But as soon as they get those symptoms and they start having parts of their life taken away from them because they can no longer do them, then they go, hold on, how important is that food to me? Because I think the number one question I get is, how can you live like that? How could you I'm Italian. So at Thanksgiving, there's more dessert on the table than there was dinner, right? So my sister is sitting next to me one year, and all the desserts are out, full long table of desserts. And she goes, how can you not even take a bite? I don't understand. And I said, let me put it to you this way. Let's say that we were sitting in front of this table and there was a gallon of bleach and a thing of Windex and maybe some Pine Sol over here and some dryer sheets over there, right? All on pretty plates with beautiful utensils and napkins. Would you be tempted to take a sip of any one of those? And she goes, no, that's not the same thing. I said, it is the same thing. That's what this food looks like to me. It's complete poison, because that food, that beautiful cheesecake with that beautiful crust, is going to take a piece of my life away, just like that Pine Sol would take a piece of your life away.
And it makes a difference.
Right. And everybody's different. And we don't know what's Pine Sol to one and what's just cheesecake to the other. We don't know, which is why we're our own guinea pigs. So how long did it take you to be a guinea pig before you got the process down? And you're like, I don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah. And it's like, and I cheat from time to time. I have a weakness for chocolate. So once in a while,
of course, you can't live without chocolate.
Once in a while, I'll eat things that aren't very good for me. Like, I'll take a couple Benadryl and have a donut. The Benadryl to counter the effect of the wheat. It's not a good idea. The combination of that, the sugar, whatever else is in there, I'm sick for days. It's like, it's just not worth it. And it is like downing the Clorox or the Windex.
Instant coma.
Yeah. It's my,
Even for me,
Yeah.
I don't have MS and
yeah, even Dan, he gets
Yeah.
instant food coma if we do something bad.
Yeah,
So it's like,
you feel it, and you just then you weigh out your options. Is this worth it? Sometimes it is. A lot of
Sometimes-
times it's not.
most of the time it's just not worth it. And I'd rather have all my cognitive ability. I'd rather have the energy. I'd rather be able to take that 4-mile walk than, you know, have the half-hour pleasure of that fantastic donut that I know is going to put me down for the rest of the day and maybe into the next day or two.
And who knows?
So, but yeah, it matters what you put in your body. It matters what you do to your body. And I'd rather put whole foods, you know, whole plant-based foods in this body than $100,000 worth of prescriptions.
Right.
You
You look
know,
amazing. It's obviously working for you. Now, when the people are, I want to ask you, and I'm not sure how I want to ask this. For me, my MS was a blessing. I couldn't say that at the time. I probably couldn't say that for about 10 years after my diagnosis, but it led me from being that person to this person. And the person that I am today, I don't recognize the person that I was when I got diagnosed. She was completely different. And I thank God I got diagnosed because it brought me here. It led me to the love of my life with the awesome beard that I was referencing earlier, the love of my life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how would you describe your MS? Was it a blessing for you?
in some ways, yes. More than anything, I'm a fighter, and
I gave you something to fight.
it gave me something to fight. Always been, you know, fighting something in my life. And before I knew how to fight this, I felt very defeated. And the MS diagnosis, I finally had a name for what was happening in my body. And it's like, okay, now that I know the name of my demon, I can fight it. It took me, you know, till you know, the last few years to realize how to fight it the best way I could. Now, not being able to work out the home, I've been able to really develop my art career. Now, before my husband and I got together, I was a professional photographer. And my husband and I have been together 14 years now, doing the whole homesteading thing for 13. But I've even learned to live a holistic homesteading type life in and around the ups and downs of MS. And now, of course, since I feel better, I can fully engage in this more because I've got the tools. I've got the weaponry to fight this and keep coming out stronger. It's like, it made me, the MS diagnosis and finding ways to fight it really and truly made me treasure all the experiences that there are in even just day-to-day life. You know, there is not an inconsequential moment. Everything has meaning. Everything is vividly colorful. Everything is rich, and I breathe it in with so much more vigor than in the days of fighting things and not knowing what they were. I guess having that name and knowing what I can do to fix and fight has been extremely empowering. And you know, that empowerment I really want to share with other people too. It's like, you can do this. Everybody can make themselves their best self, their healthiest self. Yeah, we're still going to have a rough day from time to time because, like, I overdid it last week. I had several brooms to make for customers, And it's like bang, bang, bang. It's like I was on a roll. Well, I ended up putting myself out of commission for a couple of days because I forgot I'm not Superman. And
You forget to pace yourself. You forget the balance. You take advantage of feeling so good and you go, go, go until you crash. Yeah.
I was go, go, go until I crashed. So it was one of those things like, okay, there's a balance. If I only do 1 broom a day, I'm only down for a day. If I do 3 brooms a day.
That's a great equation. You figured that out. That's a great equation.
And like, okay. And, I have to learn not to go full out. So I'm learning moderation and learning you don't have to compete with this imaginary goal. Just to.
It comes with age and it comes with time though, doesn't it? Don't you feel like, because when we were younger, what you said about being a fighter resonated with me so loudly, because ever since I can remember, I wanted to fight, even when there was no fight. Both of my husbands were like, what are we fighting for? I'm like, because I want to fight. So, if I wasn't fighting with them, I was fighting something. So you're right. The MS gave us something to fight. And I wonder how many other things that we have in common with the other people who are fighting the good fight. And what you said though, we can do this. We can do this. We do have the power. And that you already answered the question I was going to ask you. When somebody finds this video who's newly diagnosed and they're scared out of their mind because they feel like they've just been handed a death sentence and they have these 2 small children who, how could God give me these 2 kids and then tell me I'm going to die, or I'm not going to be able to take care of them, or I'm going to be in a wheelchair. I'm going to have to watch their lives happen from, the wheelchair. What would you say to those newly diagnosed people who are scared out of their minds right now?
What I would say to them is, first, love yourself. If you're going through this, take a moment, love yourself. Know that you are worth finding any means to get past this, and give a change in diet a try. And some of the scientific research has said that we are not supposed to be eating this standard American diet that we've grown up with, that our culture has adopted. And, what we put in our bodies does make a difference. You can go back to Hippocrates in Greek legends now, and let medicine be your food and food be your medicine.
Hippocrates, right?
Yep, Hippocrates. Let medicine be your food and food be your medicine, or it may go the other way around, but it matters what we put in our bodies. Just think about it for a minute. Like, when you put something that's laden with all kinds of preservatives in your body, what do you think that's going to do to your body? It's like this fuel that we put in our bodies. My husband just said it makes embalming unnecessary.
It's true. It's not a joke. It's totally true. That's awesome.
But for those people that are newly diagnosed with any autoimmune disease, not just MS, not everything from hypertension to diabetes can be monitored and managed much better with a whole food plant-based diet. That's what's worked for me. I know there's a lot of people that will integrate different things into their diet that have worked for them. For my part, whole food plant-based gave me my life back. I don't need a walker anymore. My walker's sitting in the attic gathering dust.
Oh, that's great.
I haven't needed a walking stick in over a year, 2 years. Once in a while I'll have a balanced day where I'll have it with me just in case. And then I use it like a twirling baton on my walk. It is
Jedi training.
my Jedi training, yes.
Love that. I think this is what I'm going to take away. This is what I'm going to quote when I post this. You said, 1, love yourself, and 2, You are worth finding the means to fight this. That is going to resonate with so many people. You are worth, once you realize that you are worth finding what works for you and what your body needs to heal, that's when you receive all of the power. That's when you feel powerful or empowered to do this. And that's when the ball starts to roll.
We have this lifetime. Let's make it.
No, that was awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for this time. This was absolutely wonderful. I knew I couldn't wait to talk to you. So I appreciate you taking a good hour with me today.
It was a fast hour. Very cool.
Good. It goes by fast. I know. I know. All of a sudden I look down, I'm like, it's been an hour already. What I'd love to do is schedule another call with you, maybe in a couple of weeks, to talk about how you live and how we all can learn, if we can grab some tips from you on how we can live our lives more sustainable. Because I'm sure there's so many things that you can say. Did you know how easy it could be to do this?
An example, we haven't bought paper products in a year. No
Isn't
toilet
that funny?
paper.
That would be great to talk about, especially during the pandemic and the whole toilet paper issue.
I want to do a blog post and call it the year of the toilet paper pandemic in the backyard bidet.
Yes, good.
So
I'm like, what are we worried about? You know how many washcloths I have in the linen closet over there? Why we could use washcloths? Yeah, we used to use disposable, not disposable diapers, the cloth diapers. Okay.
when my kids were little, I started out with cloth diapers, and it's what I had when I was a baby.
Right.
And there weren't disposable diapers in the 60s.
Yep.
So, but yeah, it's like there are cleaner and greener ways to do things that leave so much less of an impact. So yeah, in a few weeks down the road, I'd love to do another talk about lifestyle.
Oh, that would be great. Thank you. Because minding your soul is not just about MS. I mean, yeah, of course, we're all trying to heal our MS in this group, but it's also about minding the matters of your soul. And I think that's going to speak to so many people, or it just speaks to me, and I can't wait to do it. So, Saga and Dan, I know you can hear me. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate this. And I know so many other people will too.
Thank you very much.
All right. I will see you in the group. Goodbye.
Great. Bye. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.